I believe in Hashem. I trust a moment when that I am alone and I'm on my own. I believe and I trust in Hashem because I understand that He's holding my hand and every step is perfectly planned. He's holding me tight, so I'll be all right. I believe and I trust in Hashem. 35 years ago, the Rebbe made an urgent request to every child. What does it mean, an urgent request? Imagine the Rebbe walking out of his room, seeing a child, and saying, "Can you please do this for me?" We'll surely do it. No child would say, not sure. The Rebbe himself is asking. The Rebbe wrote a letter to all children, all boys and all girls. And the Rebbe says, I want to suggest, but this is an urgent request for something I want you to do. I'm going to read the letter of the Rebbe to you, and then I'm going to tell you about a contest about it. The Rebbe wrote this letter. It's dated between Yud Shvat and Chamisha Asa B'Shvat. To all Jewish children everywhere, God bless you all. Greeting and blessing. In addition to the general letter, there follows here, in greater detail, the suggestion and urgent request to each of you, boy or girl, to make your room, your cot or bed, your small table, and so on, into a home for Torah, Tefillah, and Maisim Tovim. This means to use them every day for learning Torah, saying a tefillah to Hashem, and giving tzedakah in a tzedakah box. Of course, not Shabbos and Yom Tov, and the like. And every one of you should have your own siddur for davening, your own chumash or other Torah sefer, and your own tzedakah box. And you should write on the inside cover of your siddur or sefer the words La Hashem Ha'aretz Malaya, or in short form, the first letters of it, Lamed Hey Vav, meaning the earth and all it contains belong to Hashem. And then write your name under it, as is the Jewish custom. If possible, write the same on your tzedakah box. The Rebbe later said that if possible, to hang up the tzedakah box on the wall, to attach it to the wall, because then the wall becomes like part of the tzedakah, so the whole room's like one big mitzvah. And then the Rebbe finishes with a special bracha for the kinderlach. This letter is part of a contest that the whole yeshiva is having, and you're going to get this sheet. You're going to bring it home, Mirz Hashem, and you're going to check off on the back of it that you have all these things that the Rebbe wants us to have. The main thing is using it every day. Then it's going to bring us many brachas, and it makes our room into a place of holiness, like a little Beis HaMikdash. And just like in the Beis HaMikdash, only good things happen, only brachas, and we know there are 10 miracles that happened in Beis HaMikdash, which means that Hashem's presence is there very much. Our room, our house, is going to be a place of holiness and goodness. This is the contest. What are you going to win if you win the raffle in this yeshiva? you're going to win the entire set of the 5 Chumashim in stories. That means all the Parsha stories, from Bereshis till Bracha, becomes yours. That's worth $300. Or, if you already have it, you can get a gift certificate for $300 worth of other stuff in the library of thelivingsedra.com, if you're the winner. But the best thing is not winning the prize. The best thing is you're doing what the Rebbe not only is asking us, but he said it's an urgent request. This will bring us many, many brachas. Now let's move on to story time. In the times of the Alter Rebbe, there was a Yid, Reb Moshe, who had an 11-year-old son, Yossi, who for some reason lost the power of speech. A couple of years earlier, he got very frightened from something, and since then, he can't speak. And the father spent all his money on doctors, trying to get a cure, but no one was able to help him. Now he's already 11 years old, and he's still not speaking. So the father took him to the Alter Rebbe to get advice. What can be done? He told the Alter Rebbe a sad story. The Alter Rebbe thought for a while, and then he said, I want you to travel to Germany and go to the city of Metz. In those days, Metz was part of Germany. Later it changed. Metz became part of France. But then it was part of Germany. And the Rebbe says, go to Metz, and over there you're going to look for a Yid, a lumber merchant who sells wood, and you'll find his house at the foot of the hill at the entrance of the city. Reb Moshe and his son went back home, and they're coming home with the idea to travel to Metz. But as he was getting closer to his house, he realized, Metz? Germany? That's like 1,500 miles away from here. You know how much money I need to travel there? And his spirits fell. He felt bad now. When his friends heard about this, his friends gathered together some money, and they gave it to him. He says, here, take your son, travel to where the Rebbe told you, and Hashem will be with you. Now, what are they supposed to do when they get to Metz? They're going to find this guy. What are they supposed to do? The Rebbe did not say. The only words that the Rebbe did say, go to Metz, and Hashem is going to send him a quick recovery. He'll have a refuah shlema there. How? Where? The Rebbe didn't say. It didn't take long, and they found the place in Metz. They were really tired from such a long trip. They knocked on the door, and Reb Yankel, the lumber merchant, opened up and welcomed them into the house. Shalom Aleichem, come right in. He says, we have to be in Metz for a couple of days. Can we be here? Of course. I have a special Hachnasas Archem room. He brought him to a room, make yourself comfortable. And they spent a couple of days in Reb Yankel's house. Each day, Reb Moshe and Yossi walked through the streets of Metz without any goal, just aimlessly, not going anywhere in particular, just waiting for the Yeshua to come, waiting for Hashem to cure him. But then after a couple of days, Reb Yankel said, Reb Moshe, I'm so happy you're in my house, and I want you to stay as long as you want. You're welcome to stay. But I see you came all this way from Russia. There must be a purpose of your coming. You need to accomplish something. Maybe I can help you. And Reb Moshe poured out his heart. Says, yes. See this boy, he's 11 years old. It's already a couple of years that he's not saying a word. He lost his power of speech because of something frightening that happened to him a couple of years ago. And no doctor was able to help him over there in Russia. Oh, so you came to look for a doctor? No. The Rebbe sent us here. So the Rebbe sent you to find a doctor here? No. The Rebbe didn't mention a word about doctors. He says, come here and stay as long as you need, and your son will get a refuah shlema. That sounds very strange. Let me think. What could you be doing here? I think I understand what the Rebbe wants. Probably the Rebbe wants you to take your son to my son-in-law. To go see my son-in-law, Reb David. Your son-in-law? What does he have to do with it? He is a tzadik. How do I know he's a tzadik? I came to the Beis Medrash to daven. And I see this bacher sitting at the end. Seems like he knows nobody. Didn't speak to anyone. He's just sitting and learning Torah the whole time. Whenever you come to shul, he's always learning Torah. So I came over to him and I offered him meals to come and eat by me. And he accepted it. But after about 2 or 3 days, he said to me that he's not comfortable. I said, what, the food isn't good? No, the food is delicious. But I'm not comfortable getting food for free. I would like to work for it. And I see that you have a lumberyard. Don't you need a watchman? I could be your watchman. All you have to do is hire me, and I'll do the work for you. I'll be watching your lumberyard that no one should come in and take, especially at night. People can steal. They'll steal some wood. But there's one condition. That you're going to build a hut for me in the lumberyard, and I'm going to spend my whole day learning Torah, and by night, I'll be the watchman. It wasn't a big deal for someone who has so much wood to build up a hut. And it got quickly built up. They brought in a bed, a chair, a table, and he was able to be there. David spent his whole day and night there. During the day, he was learning Torah. By night, he was a watchman. Then something very mysterious happened. You hear, Moshe? You're going to have to listen to this, because you're wondering, how do I know he's a tzaddik? One night, I was sleeping in my bedroom, and suddenly I woke up, and I looked through the window, and I'm able to see the field, the yard. And I see the hut seemed to be in flames. I got scared. The whole place will burn down. What's with the bacher? So what did I do? The first thing, I have to go run and save him. What's the first thing a yid does when he wakes up? What does he say? Maidani. Then what does he do? Wash Negelwasser. You're not allowed to walk away from your bed. Alter Rebbe says, we don't walk away from our bed until we wash Negelwasser. That's why we prepare the Negelwasser, the water next to our bed. Because we have tamei hands. We don't want to make things tamei. We don't want to touch anything. Imagine I touch a piece of bread. So right away he washed Negelwasser. And he put on his slippers. And he ran out of the house to run to put out the flames. But when he came out to the yard, so strange. There's no flames. It was just total darkness. Not a sound, not a flame, not a fire, no smoke, nothing. So I just couldn't figure this out. I walked back into the house, and my wife said to me, Yankala, why did you run out so quick? Did you see what I saw? I saw the hut was in flames. Yankala, you must have had a dream. Well, it's very mysterious. It really looked like it was burning. Why don't you go back to sleep, Yankala? Don't worry about it. A few nights later, I woke up again, and I look out of the window and I see the flames. It looked like it's lighting up the whole night. So I woke up my wife. I said, Rivka, take a look. And she looked out of the window, and she also saw the flames, which engulfed the entire hut. And suddenly she calls out, she says, Yankala, why are you standing there doing nothing? Let's run out and try to put out the fire. And we both ran out. Of course, they said, Maidani, wash Negelwasser. They ran out, and when they came out to the yard, all they found was darkness, no flames, no fire, no smoke. So what should I tell you of Moshe? We decided that he's probably a tzadik nister, probably one of the 36 hidden tzadikim in each generation. And the flames were not real flames. They're the light of great tzadikim or neshamis or malachim or maybe Eliyahu Navi that comes to study with him Torah by night. We didn't say anything to anyone about this mysterious happening. A while later, we realized that our daughter was old enough to get married. So I said to my wife, how can we find a better chassan, or where can we find a better chassan than David, the bacher, the tzadik nister? But we have to ask him if he agrees. So we approached him, and he agreed on 3 conditions. Condition number 1, he said, that right after we get married, we live by ourselves somewhere else. Number 2, whenever you want that we should visit, we're going to come to you. You never, ever have to come to us. As often as you want, we'll come to you. We'll visit you. And number 3, that we don't want to have any money from you. We want to get money from our own work. I used to work in a bakery, so I'm a good baker, Baruch Hashem, and I'm going to become a baker, and that's where I'll get my money from to take care of myself and my wife. Reb Yankel said, I discussed it with my wife and with my daughter, and it was agreed upon. And we made a chasana, and Baruch Hashem, the chas and kala, are so happy with each other. That makes us the happiest parents. Now, Reb Moshe, you understand? The Alter Rebbe probably sent you here to get a bracha or to get helped from my son-in-law. How the Alter Rebbe knows about my son-in-law, I don't know. But that's probably it. So I'll give you their address, and you'll go. Rabbi Moshe thanked him very much for having him, and he took Yossi with him to visit this tzadik. When they came to Reb David's house, they saw Reb David leaning over a Gemara and learning. When Reb David saw them, said, Shalom Aleichem. And Reb Moshe answered, yes, how can I help you? Well, this 11-year-old boy hasn't spoken for a couple of years, and the Alter Rebbe sent us for a refuah. He sent us here. The Alter Rebbe sent you? Seems like he knows my hideout. No hiding from the Alter Rebbe. He found out where I am, huh? Okay. So we came here so my son can get his refuah. Yossi, Shalom Aleichem, Reb David said to Yossi. And Yossi did not respond. Yossi, I said Shalom Aleichem, you need to answer. And suddenly Yossi opened his mouth and said, Aleichem Shalom. And Yossi began to cry and sob. I guess because he's so excited that his speech came back. And his father grabbed him and hugged him, and tears of joy poured down his cheeks that his son is finally healed through a miracle of this great tzadik. Reb David then gave them a bracha. Now that he's speaking, he should be healthy, grow up to a chassid, Yerushalayim, and a lamdan, and for sure, to always make sure to use the gift of speech for good and holy matters. That's the end of the story.